Welcome to the show, everyone. If you are finding us on the podcast, we did a video. Come on over to jjflazanes.tv so you can meet Sonia. If you're here on YouTube, welcome. This is my show. And if you don't love me and you want to know more about Sonia when we're done with this interview, I know they can find you currently at one of two Instagram pages. Where would you like to send them?
I'm starting to work on Mariposa Collectives. So that one's kind of up, but just starting. And then you can find me at my personal, which is Sonia Lamb.
Okay, Sonia Lamb on Instagram. All right, everybody. So today's a two-parter, at least, because we're not quite at the beginning. Like, this isn't quite the before. We're further along than the before, but it's the before of the next chapter and the next evolution or the next expression of Sonia. I wanted to have her on because at this stage of the game in her journey, because of the successes and manifestations she's already been able to have and the fucking struggles that she's had, but powered through them, because I wanted to share her story because it's very inspiring. Everybody who knows her is super inspired by how hardworking, dedicated, and committed she is to living her best life and getting what she wants, which she's doing. And then there'll be an after because she just started a new business. She started a new life. And I want to definitely revisit where that is after we get that going a little bit deeper into the process. So first of all, welcome to the show. She's been on the show before, but you've never met her with her face. She was on a podcast with the Empowerment Strategists a couple years ago, and you were on your cell phone. So it was video, but we didn't get to see you. And then you were on the episode where we did the mastermind in March or in April in Mexico. Yep. And of course, nobody was on video for that. So I get to introduce you now with your beautiful face on my community.
Thanks, JJ.
So let's start off with how you got to me, and then we'll go back a little bit. Like we'll go backwards. So
okay.
How'd you get to me?
Well, I've been doing hair for 25 years, and I was running my own business, and I was working a lot of hours. And, as a mom, juggling a lot between your family life, your business life, and then any personal time, I was starting to feel run down. Physically, like my body was breaking down. Mentally, I was feeling kind of dead inside, and I wasn't finding the passion and the joy as much as I was going through the experiences that I very much loved with people I very much loved. I just wasn't in love with it anymore. And I started looking for another career, something else I could do that would make me money and also be available for my kids. And, as I started thinking about that, I got out of school and I went into hairdressing as a backup plan. I didn't go to college, and I've made this huge career out of it, but I'm physically standing behind the chair doing all the work, and I wanted to make a change. And so I happened to be talking to my community, my hairdressing community, and, sharing how I'm feeling in the sense that I was ready for a new start. And I've been thinking about it and pondering it and writing things down and reaching out and networking. And I just happened to be talking with the most bubbliest client I have, Miss Sunshine herself, June. And she's like, well, one of the many things that she's interested in, because she has a wide variety of interests. And she said, I've really gotten into this podcasting, and I've met this woman, JJ, and I signed up for this course. Hey, why don't you look into it? And so I was like, yeah, okay, I'll look into it. And then before I knew it, was like 2 days later, I was like, and you're being interviewed by JJ. And I was like, what is happening to my life right now? And then, it was the scary decision of like investing in yourself and taking that chance. Your course had already started. I didn't really have time to think. I had to really feel. And that's how I joined.
Yeah, you came in. I remember asking everybody if it was cool that someone came in late, and it was, of course, and it's been amazing. And yes, and it was an investment, and one that you made, and you hesitated, but you didn't, because you were ready. And I think that I was ready. You were at that point of looking. And I think you had said to me that you were looking later on. You said you were looking for a business coach. I forgot. Did you ever hire a business coach?
I didn't. I found you.
Okay. Right. But so prior to joining the Empowerment Strategist certification, you had not had a business coach.
No.
Okay. So prior to me, what other work had you done on personal development or business development?
I've been reading self-help books since I was a little kid. I think the loss of my mom, losing my mom very young, I kind of always been looking and pondering. And so, I've always been a big reader as far as that kind of stuff. Have gone down the podcast road here and there. Nothing that I've like really found one person that was my hero, but and then I think other than that, it was a lot of education in the hair world, right? Taking master classes in that and upping my level in the hair world. I hadn't actually really gone outside of the hair in a really long time. Besides, taking care of myself nutritionally and sleep and, learning those kinds of things to go with doing hair.
So the Empowerment Strategist certification is about coaching. Was that something that you, obviously, when you joined, but, is that where you were thinking you wanted to go?
I feel like a lot of us who in the hair world feel like we're therapists behind the chair anyways. And it's a title that we often get, people tell their hairdressers everything. And they do. I mean, I talk all day long to people about all kinds of things. And of my nature, I think, is to want to help. And I think for me, wanting to help and seeing the problems over and over, especially after COVID, hearing this people's stories and how much it changed. And there was a lot of anxiety that came out of COVID. And there was a lot of people who felt kind of lost. And I kept hearing the same story and over again. And I didn't feel like I was at the place where I was ready to go back to school, to take that on with the kids and try to make an income at the same time, as far as like traditional, like get a psychology degree. But at the same time, I was like, I love helping people. I love people. I want to grow. I'm growing. And how can I help grow with people? So I think the coaching thing wasn't something that was at the top of my list. As far as things that I was like, that's what I'm doing, until I saw your program and I was like, oh, well, this checks all the boxes of the things that I was looking for. I just didn't necessarily know that coaching was it.
Prior to, again, joining and seeing this as an opportunity to start a new life, a new chapter, a new business, you had been in therapy before, right? Like you've tried different things over different relationships. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, I lost my mom when I was 4. And I think that going through life, kind of always searching and wanting to figure out how to deal with those emotions. I've seen therapists over the years. I've had, prior to joining, I had 2 failed marriages. And so like I did do some therapy around that, traditional talk therapy. And then I've gone into the spiritual world too, and have had tarot card readings and Reiki done, and massage therapy, and just different things to move energy around. I've gone to different yoga classes and different types of meditation studios just to kind of learn more about different ways of unlocking and blocking energies. And I'm just kind of like collecting tools, I guess. But yeah, I guess traditional talk therapy mostly.
Did you feel that you had made progress? Or maybe we give it a percentage. Like, of course, there are all kinds of different kinds of therapists, and people have different tools, and they can bring up different things. Like I remember having a therapist who I went to specifically for EMDR, and this is a great manifestation story, actually. So I'll throw that in because I know we're going to talk about all of your manifestations, because at this point you're in super overdrive manifestation master. But I was using law of attraction with this client. I'm sorry, with this therapist. And I wanted to go to her because she was on my insurance. I wanted to do EMDR, and she was referred to me. So I go into her office and I said, I want to do EMDR. And she said, great. Well, tell me a little bit about who you are and what we're going to work on and blah, blah, blah. So all the things. That was the first session. Second session, we didn't do EMDR either. Third session, I'm not sure if we did EMDR then either. And just kept dragging out. And every time after the session, I'd send her an email to say, I really want to do EMDR. And now somewhere in this, I also handed her a CD, an Abraham CD about law of attraction, which of course, then like 6 weeks in, she's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm like, uh-huh. Yep. Glad I'm paying you to help you. So then, by like the 5th or 6th session, we finally did EMDR. And then the next time, again, we didn't do it again. And she said to me, she said, well, JJ, every time you come in, you start talking about, your relationship. And I said, because you ask me how I'm doing. So I just sort of get you up to speed, but I'm in your room. I want you to lead. I didn't say this part, but I was thinking, because I didn't have the words for this at the time. I want you to lead me. I'm here. You lead me. I'm telling you I want EMDR. I'm telling you what I want to work on. But then, yes, you asked me how I am, but then next thing I know, 30 minutes later, 40 minutes later, an hour later, we're still talking about my story because you keep asking me questions and we haven't done why I'm here in the first place. So super frustrated. I stopped going to her around 7 or 8 sessions. Again, it was all on insurance. But I was pissed. I was pissed because I thought I am coming to you. I want you to lead me. Right. But it didn't happen. And then, but I was really upset about it because I thought, God, that was a waste of money, even though it was on insurance and it wasn't super expensive. I just was at that time, I didn't, I was killing myself to have my own business also. So any money going out the door that I didn't feel like was good was really pissing me off. So I did an exercise with a client of mine. We were on a run. I was a personal trainer at that moment, working on all the emotions, whether people wanted to hear it or not. But we were on a run, and then we got coffee afterwards. And I just had this I'm so pissed about this. So I thought, okay, how do I turn this around? So how do I make peace with this? And this is a good exercise for anyone who's listening. How do I make peace with this? What did I get from that? Because if you would have asked me if it was worth it in the beginning, I would have said, no, it wasn't. It was a waste of time. But then I thought, okay, what did I get out of it? Okay, well, we did this, and then I did this, and I wrote this letter to my family, and and then I did this, and I did this, and I just tried to extract any possible good thing I got out of those 6, 7, 8 sessions, whatever. Well, then by the end, I felt better. And I was like, okay, all right. So that was worth whatever money I paid. And wouldn't you know it, she got in touch with me and said that the insurance company paid double, and that I either had money I could use for credit, or she could send me the rest back. So basically I would have never asked for my money back, because service providers that, you spend like their money and their time, I wouldn't have said, can I have a refund? That, but did I want one? Yeah, but I wouldn't have asked for one. And then the universe brought me a refund. I literally got all the money back that I spent on her by making peace with that. I did get something out of it. So in terms of, what did you feel was beneficial about what you did, or did you feel like it wasn't really beneficial?
I think I agree with you. I think that there was things that I got out of it. I definitely feel like the release of just talking to someone else and having somebody listen to you. I mean, that is so important, right? Just to like, when you're feeling like you have something to say and nobody else, you feel safe to say it to. I think that's number one, like that's it. But then I think when you talk about yourself, but then you're not given anything to where to go with it. And I think I'm just such a task oriented person. So then I'm like, okay, great. So I'm having these feelings, but now what do I do with them? Like, and I always wanted to do something with it. And so like, I think that for me, it would kind of get to a dead end where I'd be like, okay, I don't really know where to go next, because I still have the same feelings that I had 6 months ago. And I'm not really, nothing's changing. I'm using other tools, to survive, whether it's drinking or eating or shopping or, sleeping excessively, not sleeping enough, being an insomniac, it's just like all these other things start to kind of come in that make you feel like somehow you're in survival mode. And it didn't feel good anymore. And I think the last therapist that I saw, she was really great. I felt like she was my cheerleader. I felt like every time I got on the phone with her, she was like, girl power, you rock. And I think she really helped me kind of recenter me and make me feel like I wasn't crazy, and that what I was going through, was hard. And I am such a strong person that I really had a hard time realizing that my situation had gone too far and that it really wasn't worth saving. And even though there were so many people saying like, this isn't healthy anymore, I was refusing to like hear it. And so I think that last therapist that would not get off that wagon of like, you need help get out of this, and you need to start making choices that are going to get you closer to that. And I was resistant. I kept being like, okay, but what tools can I have that could help my marriage? And how can I talk to him this way? And how can I use my words this way? And how can I make him feel this way? And it didn't matter what I wanted to get from him, because the reality was I was just putting everything out, and I wasn't giving myself what I needed, and I wasn't thinking about what I needed until I started the Empowerment Strategist program and realized that it all started with me, and I needed to give myself the things that I needed, whatever it was. And when I started being able to do that, then I could give more, I could hear more, I could actively do more. And so I think for me, therapy, I've gotten different things out of it, whether it's new books to read or different journaling techniques, or whether it's learning how to identify an emotion or a trigger, those kinds of things.
Okay. So then in comes Empowerment Strategist. Boom, you are plopped right in the middle of this. We're already a month in. You're getting bombarded with Marco Polos and text messages, and here, read and watch and do and listen, all these things. And then 6 months later, coming to Awaken Your Dream Life. Talk a little bit about your journey and what you learned, what you got out of it, what you realized maybe for the first time through that program, because I want you to, for me, one of the things that you just said and that you emphasized in the beginning of the program, or at least within the first couple of months, was that idea that and this is, a lot of people come to me, especially women who are thinking about divorce or are unhappy in their marriage. And a lot of times it's in the victim mentality. Like, my husband is this, he's that, he doesn't treat me well, he doesn't talk to me well. And it's very, or the reverse. I mean, I've had the reverse too, where men, and unfortunately, sometimes the men are correct, that it's the woman's fault, but the women come and they want to blame it on the men. And that's never, I never want to pit anyone against each other. I mean, you were not listening to my podcast before you met me. You met me because of June, and then you were thrown into the JJ world. But people that have been with me heard me get divorced on my show, and everything and all the learning I had done before that, and all of the response, I kept taking responsibility and doing whatever I could to heal me, get rid of my triggers, heal my wounds, calm my nervous system, be in deeper trust, be compassionate, understand the point of view, be open-hearted with love, even when somebody's mad and yelling at you and judging you and all the things. And I felt like that was a better place to come from, because I had to get to the end of, I've done everything I can, or I think I could there be more stuff? There could, but then the universe was sort of tapping me on the shoulder saying, look at that client you have over there and how much he adores his wife and how much he's willing to learn things and try things. And I was like, man, I think I deserve some of that. Maybe it's unrealistic to ask somebody else to do the same as I do. The effort, because literally I built this whole show, I built this whole business around trying to save my marriage. So when it came to, I just wanted like someone who like 10%, just do 10% of what I'm doing, because the relationship is valuable. And I never thought I would get divorced. I fought that so hard because I had the tools, and I thought, well, I can do it. Mm-hmm. And we have all the tools. We have all the answers. They're right here, but you can't make somebody want to do it. And and then there's also the growing of the people. And I've always been a fast grower and fast learner, which means vibrationally, I'm not going to stick around very long. I mean, everyone who listens to the show that comes to a live event, you came to Awaken Your Dream Life, when I ask them in the room, hey, raise your hand if you've listened to the show for more than a couple of years and you've seen me grow. And the hand goes up every time. I'm not doing any work. I'm not telling you to do anything I haven't done or that I'm not currently doing. So back to the question of what were some of the pivotal points of what you learned or realized or implemented or manifested, I guess, during the program?
I mean, I'm going to start with the first thing, which was, you would give us a task. And I would say 3 weeks later, I would complete like 30% of it. And so at first it was just like, get the task done, like learning how to implement it into your life, because you're not going to succeed if you're not doing it. You can't half do it. You can't kind of do it. You can't think about doing it. You actually have to do the work. And so like, I had to do the appreciation journals every day. I had to get on the meditation. I had to listen to the binary beats. I had to get the sleep. I had to change my thought process. I had to change the way I was talking about myself and about what I was observing too, and how I interacted with other people. And I think that when I first got into the program, that was really hard. Like, I would find myself kind of either somewhat doing it, or kind of doing it, or half doing it. And then all of a sudden it just clicked. And I was like, oh, if I do this and this and this and stack this here and then put in this and this here. And then I just kept working the practice until like every day I was like in full swing. And then when I started getting into full swing, then I started noticing changes, just like dieting, right? Like when you start dieting, at first you're like, this sucks, I'm starving. Like, when can I fucking eat something I really want to eat? And then you're like, oh, you know what? Like, you're not really hungry in 4 days. You're fine. And so I kind of felt like that was how it was when I was learning how to meditate. At first I was like, okay, I'm good. I know how to do this. And then I'm like 5 minutes in, I'm like, and I'm making what for dinner, and where do I need to be next, and what's my grocery list? And I'm like, no, okay, back to it. So like finding tricks and learning that. And then I think the next biggest thing after like getting all the tools along down that you were teaching us, plus the homework we were doing, plus the working with each other work. But I think by the time I got to Awaken Your Dream Life, I really wasn't as nervous with engaging with other people. And I was really proud of myself, because I feel like I didn't sit with any of the girls that was in our group. I tried to partner with different partners. I even got up in the front of the room and spoke. And like, I really was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this completely out of my box. Like, there's no reason to stay safe. And so I think with every situation that you gave us, I was like, okay, how do I push myself the next level? Like, how do I get to the next phase? And I think that was every little baby step that was like, okay, that's one more forward motion just kind of created. And I think by the time I got to Awaken Dream Life, I was still kind of nervous, but excited because I had learned so much and felt like I had a pretty good grip on my emotions and felt like I was getting it. And I don't know, I was really excited to be there. I was pumped to like fly across the country and leave my family behind and do something for me. And, you know, to tell everybody like, this is for me, this is my business, this is something new, this is for my growth. And I was proud.
Yeah, you even took some extra time on the front and back end, which was awesome to
Mm-hmm.
really just soak it in, to allow yourself to be in it and not make it about a task and not make it about rushing and not make it about like you took it, which is super smart. Like I always tell everybody, if you can stay one more night, come in a day early just to adapt to the time change, especially for anyone coming in for a live event, because it's important. It's important to not treat it like, because it's a lot of energy we do, you know, it's a lot of energy
Yeah.
being moved when we're together in person, and you need some time to adapt and to rest and to integrate. And so now at this point in time, it's been 5 or 6 months and you're completing the Empowerment Strategist program, you're at Awaken Your Dream Life. And what would you say, there's going to be another pivot to that story, but let's get to like at the height of that. What did you feel like you had either accomplished or changed about your life at that point?
Well, I mean, when I was at Awaken Your Dream Life, my life was somewhat still intact as far as the way I left it. I was still running my salon business. However, I had slowed down my pace. I upped my prices. I started kind of shifting out clients that I felt like was too much for me at the time. I used very different language with how I communicated with my husband. I started to use different language with communicating with my children. I started really finding that I was a little bit more in the driver's seat than I realized, and that I wasn't really the victim and I was in control and that I had the power. And I had to slow down. And I think you just said it and it triggered me. I was at top speed, 900 miles an hour. And I don't think I was ever completing one task 100%. And now with that program, I was like, okay, I'm completing the entire task. Like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm feeling better. So like, then I didn't want to shake it. Then I didn't want to shake my thing up. When I got back from Awaken Your Dream Life, that's when my whole life went in the gutter. And I there were some incidences that had happened over the summer in my marriage that I wasn't proud of, um, that I wasn't sure we were going to get past. And then when I got back, it was solidified that I was really feeling that our marriage wasn't something that I was interested in keeping anymore. And that until I was ready to figure out how I was going to pull it all apart, then I was kind of just sitting. I kind of sat for like a month and just did my work and took my walks and listened to my podcasts and did my Abrahams and did my appreciation journals and just thought about all the good that I had. I was started dreaming about what I wanted. What did I want my future person to look like? What did I want my future business to look like? What did I want my life to look like? How did I want it to feel? And that's what I meditated about every day. And when I was in those hard moments that I felt were tough, I didn't feel stuck anymore. I knew that I was gonna come up with the right solution. It was just coming up with it in time. And there was a pivotal moment that erupted in the marriage, and that's what the time started. It started in November, and I had my husband arrested, and it was the scariest thing I've ever done. And but then it was like the switch went off, and it was like, okay, now you're on to the next step, and you're here, and now what are you going to do with it? And I felt like I really wanted to look back on this experience and be like, you want to help people, like you show them how you do this right, and you stay strong and you do all the things. But then I was like, no, you stay strong, but you need to learn how to cry. Like, remember that whole crying thing JJ's been trying to teach you to do? And so like, instead of trying to shove down the emotions and the pain and the scared part of like fear that had set in. I was like, no, you're going to feel every emotion. You're going to go through every single emotion, and you're going to take the time, and you're going to lean on people, and you're going to call people, and you're going to tell people how you're feeling. And you're not going to just pretend that you're okay. And I did that. And I think, the next step was, it was literally week to week of being like, how am I going to pay for my mortgage? How am I going to take care of my children? What am I going to say to my kids? Like, feeling kind of exposed to like, oh my God, his name's in the paper and people are asking questions, and how do I say this? And like, it was a very out of body experience for a while. And then I just kept with my practices. I kept, not wavering on taking care of me the whole process, even though at times it was a little exhausting.
I want to offer a different way to say what happened, because you said it went into the gutter, because what that could be interpreted as is I did all this work and it didn't work.
No, it worked. It
Right.
just, it didn't present the way I expected it to.
Correct. So same case for me, right? Okay. I did all this work and released at one point the control and said, okay, maybe separation would be good. And the universe put Doug in my lap, and I said, whoa, hold on. And the universe is like, no, here's what you want. I'm like, no, I want out of that guy. And the universe is like, no, you're not going to get from that guy. Like where you've been living vibrationally. I mastered law of attraction during my relationship because I was living a reality that no one else could see. And I would be, and all my clients, especially even Doug, who was my client, no one would have said I wasn't happy, like really happy, not fake happy, not putting on a face, not secretly showing one side, no, literally a happy person who was trying to be compassionate all the time. So, but when it became not a match anymore, became not a vibrational match, the path that I was on, and again, the rate at which I learn, the rate at which I grow, this has been happening to me for my entire life. I can't, with friends or with groups, like I outgrow people very quickly. And I don't mean that I hope that doesn't sound completely fucking arrogant. That's not what I mean. But at some point you have to be able to admit to yourself sort of your strengths and weaknesses, and the fact of the absorption of information and the desire that I have to grow and to expand and to be all that I can be and to not let anything stop me. And that isn't most people. So at that point, it is you, but it isn't most people. And so you get to the place where you're growing and you feel good and you feel better. And you started out feeling pain and frustration and being a victim. And by the end of the course and Awaken Your Dream Life, you felt empowered, you felt solid and secure, you loved yourself, you respected yourself at a new level, and you had compassion for everybody else also, but you had a different boundary. And so what worked was that, and this is a lesson for people, you guys that are listening, when you want something more than you've had before, you have to grow into what that is in order to receive that. But when you do receive that, and I want you to remember this quote, with the Rewire group, the other day, I said, okay, I want you guys to remember 3 quotes. Here are the 3 quotes, write them down, sear them in your brain, repeat them daily. These 3 quotes will save your life every time. They will direct you in the right way. Number 1, the only reason you want what you want is because you think you'll feel better when you have it. So why do you want to work it out with your partner? Because you think you're going to feel love. Well, guess what? It's your job to feel love now, no matter what they're doing. And when you sustain the vibration of love long enough, those who do not match it will fall away. And those that do match will come into the picture. And that's something that we have to allow ourselves to. But I held on, like strong holding, white knuckling it. And so did you, and we both had levels of shame of something not working, but that got in the way of allowing what we wanted and where we were headed and who we really are to emerge. So while, it went in the gutter in terms of the way that looked on the outside, but you had emerged as a new version of you who believed in getting more and wanting more and having more. And I don't mean in more in any way, abundant in love, abundant in feeling good, abundant in, I'm not just talking about money. So
not money, definitely not money.
And I know a lot of people, somebody recently said, in the Rewire group, when I did that podcast, someone was nervous about coming into the program and then not having their marriage work out. And I want to say for a lot of you listening, there have been people who've come to me and their marriage has worked out because I work on the one person, and all it takes is one person to shift that dynamic. Both Sonia and I had shifted our behaviors and received the benefit of that from our partners But when it's you, when you're the only one sort of milking that, they can't sustain it. But you absolutely can evoke better feelings and better situations from everybody in your life when you work on you. And when you change how you see them, when you change the conversation about them, and that's the second quote, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's the Wayne Dyer quote. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So that quote is the situation of looking at it differently. But then, your higher self said, here's what I want. It's so clear to me. Here's what I want. I'm looking at my life. I don't have that. That's not what I want. So I'm on the path to get what I want, but I'm going to have to do a little hard work in the middle. So let's talk about what the hard work in the middle has been.
Oh gosh. Well, I had to make the decision to sell my beautiful farmhouse, which I felt very safe. I loved my farmhouse. It didn't feel right. I thought about it. I meditated on it. I journaled on it, and it just felt like that was a big decision. So I sold my farmhouse. I cut my clientele in half while I was going through the process of separation with my husband, and worked very part-time to heal and work at the same time to create a little bit of income. I then decided that, okay, if I'm selling my house, then what? Then where am I going to work? What am I going to do? And what do I want to do? And so I was like, oh, I'm going to take a year to heal. I'm going to sell the house. I'm going to take a year to heal. I'm going to work part-time. I'm going to work 2 days a week in someone else's salon, and it's going to be all their stuff to take care of, because I've been working in my own salon for 10 years. And then the universe was like, nope, that's not happening either. And I manifested this woman into my life, literally wrote down her name on a piece of paper that I was like, so I'm going to start networking, because maybe I want to work 2 days in a salon. And maybe I want to work 1 day in another company, in another industry of something that's really cool and exciting that, blows my mind, because I've been doing hair for so long. And I just started writing down people's companies or names of people that I really love to hang out with. Like, that would be so cool to work with. And I literally came back from took myself on vacation to think about this, away from my house, away from my kids, away from my life, which was amazing, by the way, to say, okay, peace out, world. I'm taking a break. And I did. And I was received by my lovely aunt, who received me with open arms and was like, you just come stay with me, honey girl. And we're just going to think about this for a few days. And I took a nice break. And when I came back, I had those names listed. And I was like, I'm going to contact them. And 2 days later, that woman contacted me and was like, hey, what you up to? What you working on? I might be free. And now we're starting our own business together. So it's really cool. So now I'm launching Mariposa Collective, which is going to be a meditation studio with a hair salon in it. And Corey, who I manifested into my life, is going to be doing facials and eyelash extensions and all things face related. That's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to be living in the life I wanted. I thought, oh, I needed another career, and here she is. She's ready. So I'm starting my new business, which is going to be a lot of, the stuff I want to be doing, which is really exciting. And it's been a slow steps to get to the point of getting the house sold and starting Mariposa. And then it was a dead run. And I'm currently still in the dead run phase.
Well, let's also put on top of this, I just want to outline also the commitment to yourself and to your business that you've maintained, which I think is one of the most important things as an entrepreneur that one has to have. In order to be successful, it doesn't matter how much you know, it doesn't matter how many people you know, it matters how committed to yourself you are. It matters how committed to living the life that you want are you. It matters how much you believe in the vision that you have and how dedicated you are to allowing that vision in and working to get there. So between paying all the bills yourself, getting absolutely no help with the bills at the house, I remember, and you would join the mastermind at Awaken Your Dream Life. You join the mastermind and you're like, okay, now I want the business coach part. And my life is blowing up. And I'm like, great, this is perfect. Again, coming from the place of, I can't pay my bills, but I'm going to pay you to be in this mastermind, where I literally can't take a minute to myself because I'm working like a dog just to cover the bills and my children while I'm trying to, move on with my life and figure out what I'm going to do. And I remember when it was a Marco, I think, that you had this idea about selling the house. And because at first you were like, oh, I can't sell the house. I can't sell the house. And then the minute you had the idea of selling the house, it gave you such relief.
I was so excited. I remember that feeling.
Right. And then so we got there and you did it, but it's so funny because it's August. And even though you're like, oh, and now, or, it's been manifesting so fast. I don't even think like you think this is slow, yet you've gotten a new business, you sold your house and did very well. You have your last relationship is now going to be done.
Divorce.
It's done.
Yep.
You're divorced.
Mhm.
You move to a place where you're near the beach and you get to ride your bike or walk to the beach
Yeah.
with your children, which is another lifestyle thing that you wanted. You manifested the space that you wanted, the business partner that you wanted. And on
Mhm.
top of that, you manifested a relationship that you didn't even want. But so it's like all of it is coming into your
I
space
guess when
so
I'm saying
quickly.
slow, like I would think about each thing. Like I would think about each thing and I would just like work on that one thing, like manifesting the business. And I would just think about it for like over and over. And so I think that's where I felt like it was slow in the sense of being like, I didn't just go like, I don't want this and I want this and I want this. I was like really calculated and really honed in on each thing, except for the relationship. I was obviously daydreaming about the perfect man, but was not asking for him to come forward right now. But he did.
But he did. He did. So I remember one of the courses. So in the Empowerment Strategist, which is now broken into two parts. It's the rewiring your core wound program. Your core wound patterns is the first 3 months, and then there's a second 3 months that I will reveal the name at another time. And then this year's was the deep dive program,
Right.
and that's basically what you did in the Empowerment Strategist program. But I remember one of the things that you loved, your favorite course was Law of Attraction course.
Yes.
And it's working for you, as
It
everybody
is.
can see. All the
Yes.
practices have been it was even working for you when your relationship, quote unquote, went in the gutter.
It was. I was not expecting, and it was exactly what you said, that like he did start to rise. Like as I started to change how I was feeling and how I was talking to him and how I was interacting, he changed. Like, and not saying I needed him to change to be with him, but he did start to elevate. And he could feel what I was putting out there. But it wasn't who he was at the core. It wasn't enough to keep us together because we weren't meant. It just wasn't meant to be. And, and I wasn't ready to accept it. And until I did. And then the universe was like, and we're moving forward.
So to go back to the story where Sonia joined the Empowerment Strategist certification to become a coach, besides doing hair twice a week and only twice a week, but she's going to have somebody else come in and do some hair too. So don't worry, Mariposa Collective will have other stylists that you can go to if Sonia is booked, and she will be. But she's going to be doing all her other classes. And that's where I said this is a two-parter, because I want to come back with the after it's open, after you have your classes, after you have your first or second group coaching under your belt. And that's one of the things that you're going to be moving into. So as an empowerment strategist and as a mastermind client, I said, well, you could be teaching people. I mean, they're watching you. You have a front row seat. They each have a front row seat. They're sitting in your chair. They're watching you do this, or watching your life shift before their eyes. You have to take this opportunity because people are going to want to know how to do it. And they were asking you, right? They were asking you, how are you doing this?
And not only just like, because I didn't talk to everybody about like the ins and outs of what I was doing, but what is different about you? You are just so happy. You're glowing, you're beaming, you're amazing. And it's just like, it was from the inside out. Literally, it was just coming out of me. And it's contagious. And I think that people do want to know what I'm doing. And I did share many tips. And I think it's good. It's all good. It's all going to I can't wait to start. I can't wait.
So right now in this transition, you're getting ready to open up Mariposa. And as of this recording, you're going to share this with your community, because your clients, Sonia's going to make a special offer to her clients only at this point, because she wants to be able to work with the people that already know, like, and trust her, really trust her, because they've known her for years and they've been watching this unfold in front of their eyes. But doing a pilot program, like I do beta programs. She's going to do a pilot program around the law of attraction work that we did, and helping others to do that. So if you are one of Sonia's clients, of course, you can just reach right back out to her and ask her for details if she hasn't already sent you the email. It will be a limited group of people. So you're going to get on it, because it will be more expensive the next time, because as her business coach, she's going to offer it at this price one time. And then it's going to be, because she has invested. So 2 years, she's invested 5 figures into her and her business with me. And she's put it to work. You can see what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
She's gotten the results. Now, if you're someone who doesn't want to get divorced, but you just want to be happier, you can still use these things. Sonia's the extreme of like, she wanted her life to change. She was tired. She wanted more. She wanted opportunity and freedom, and literally has done a 180 in her life. Now, not everybody has to be at that place where you're willing to change everything, and you don't want to change everything, because I think there's enough information here to change your relationships, to change your businesses, to change your happiness level, to change your body and your health with what we've done. And you don't have to want the major change, but I wanted you to hear her story, and I wanted her to share it with you because of using these tools and these principles and maintaining this lack of victim, this, again, empowerment place of no matter what's happening around me, it's working for me. I may have had something bad happen to me, but I'm looking at this as the universe's way to move me forward towards what I want, not something that I deserve because I did something bad, not because it happened to me and I'm a bad person, or I'm not good enough. All of the things that were manifested that are contrast are still on your side, because many people do not take action until they are so uncomfortable that there is no other way to feel relief. And, I talk about it all the time. I encourage everybody to get out ahead of it. So that way, whatever the manifestation is, you're not like, oh my God, it's not unrepairable necessarily, and sometimes that's what needs to happen. But for you were doing both. You were kind of out ahead of it, but then also trying to help and be with it. But at all times, coming back to yourself, coming back to honoring you, coming back to what you really want, and coming back to how is this all working for me? And where is it that I'm going?
Oh yeah, there was so much contrast, and conversations that you and I had, conversations that I had a lot about the contrast that was happening and how to spin it. Because I have all these amazing things happening in right now in this moment in time, but that's not because there wasn't a ton of little bumps getting here. But I definitely changed the way I looked at them, and even like the money thing, like I manifested money to come to me just like you did. Like, it was insane that the more I let go and stopped struggling, the more it just kept coming. And the more that I was just like, I've got this. I don't need anything else. I am safe. I am happy. I've got these things are working for me. And it just kept coming. It literally did.
Well, you're such a good example of, with the empowerment strategist, that was, life hadn't quite, broken yet. You were at the end, you needed that help. And so you made that investment. But then we get to, the next level of where now life's blowing up and you're still making the investment. You're doing the mastermind. You're still investing in you and your future and where you're going and how to transition into a coaching practice. And then, like I said, in Mexico, no one would have argued with you. Well, I would have, but nobody else would have argued with you about your reasons for not coming to Mexico, because you were paying all the bills. Your ex was helping with nothing. You had 2 children. You have a business to run. You're trying to sell your house. Like, you couldn't have had more shit going on at that time, but you still said, nope, going to Mexico. I'm going to the mastermind because I'm investing in me. I'm choosing me, because and for some people, I know that sounds, I don't know how that sounds to you. For some people, I know they're like, oh, I can't do that. But I don't know if you understand that you have to do that. Like, if you want something different than what you have, if you keep making yourself second, third, fourth, and last, you never get the thing that you want, because you upper limit by never just saying, screw it. So with Karen, shout out to Karen. Karen's in the community. Karen, who you coached she's Empower You. She did so Karen just joined the Rewire program.
Right.
And right, like when
she's
I got
doing a lot of work on herself. She's doing a great job.
She is. And she said, it's been 2 years and I feel amazing. She's like, and it's time to go deeper. And she's, been in line to, like, I think I offered her the live event and she said, I can't. I offered like the 3-month beta before. And she's like, oh, I can't. And all of a sudden she's like, okay, I'm ready. She's like, and I'm not even nervous. I have no scarcity. I have no, I just know that it's the right time, because the tools that I've already gotten, which has been, the roadmap course, she's done the law of attraction course, but I don't think she's completed yet. Like, she's like, there's so much good and I see the results and now I'm ready for more. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're Sonia's client and you're ready for more, she is ready for you. She is ready to take you on a pilot program through the law of attraction course. So please reach out and please sign up for that, because it will not be the same price next time. And then if you're listening to my show and you're here, I have one more One more, rewiring your core wound patterns, happening this year. It starts in September. And if you heard the rewiring results, you'll hear that all of the people who did it, literally all the things they came in with, here's what I want to work on, all of them got worked on. And then they moved on and they wanted to do more because they're really feeling the difference, the life-changing difference when you start to invest in yourself and say, I am my best investment because I'm the one driving this ship. I'm the one who's doing all the work. So why not? And you're never going to get the life that you want or the relationship that you want if you keep making excuses by putting everything else in front of you. So you've been such an amazing example of that, Sonia, like the bravery, the courage, the discipline, like, it's just been amazing. You've inspired me too.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
If you if there's something that you think someone's on the other side, like imagine you're sitting on the other side of this and you're listening, what would you have needed to hear? You did it in the right time. You did it for you. But let's say someone's on the fence for you or for me, whether they're going to do your program or they're considering my program. What would you have needed to hear to say, oh, that makes sense, I should probably do that scary thing?
I guess it's like I was so miserable with myself and blaming myself for my own misery, right? Like I wasn't sure at times I'd blame other people for causing some of my misery, but the core of it, I was miserable, not happy with the way that life was going. And I couldn't have stayed there much longer, right? Like I was shutting down. My health was going. I was having really negative, sad thoughts. And so I would say to somebody sitting on the other side is like, if you could take one thing and change it tomorrow to make yourself feel better, wouldn't you want to do that? And like to change your life, it doesn't have to be this huge, like sell your house, get a divorce, get a new business and have this amazing boyfriend. It's just to feel better about being in control of your life and being in control of your thoughts, really. And I think that was the thing, to be in control of my thoughts. And I think if somebody was sitting there who is struggling on the inside and trying to be perfect and trying to not show how scared they were, or how fearful they were, or, on the outside, I took care of myself. I was strong. I was healthy. I presented the package I wanted people to see, but that wasn't how I felt on the inside. So I think if someone's sitting there and they know they're having these thoughts in their heads that are not healthy, I think it's time, it's time. You have to go to sleep with yourself. You have to wake up with yourself. You have to walk through this life, and we only have one of it. And I think losing my mom at a very young age, I've always strived to want to live my life to the fullest, because her life was gone at 27 years old and I'm 41 years old. I've accomplished so much. I've had so many triumphs. I had so many failures. I've had so many triumphs that have brought me to where I am now. And I would say that you need to want to fail a little bit to succeed. And I hope somebody who's listening, if they're at all feeling like there's something more out there, they take this chance.
Fail forward and want more for yourself, not necessarily in the money category. Then that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that, but want more of everything for yourself. Want more health, want more love, want more respect, want more peace, want more joy. Yesterday I went to the store to get because Sonia's going to be here next week. You're going to be here a week from today. You realize that, right? You're going to be here a week from today. And I'm holding a little wine circle on Sunday, and I'm filming it for the wine. And I went to the store to get, here it is. Each one of the wine bottles has, and this has been a project because I'm not the arts and crafty person. But each bottle is going to get a crystal. Now this is a, selenite, but I also have rose quartz and amethyst. And when I went to the jewelry store, when I went to the crystal place to get the crystals, these were all like strung, but from top to bottom. And I'm new at this. So I just saw them. I liked them. I'm like, oh, teardrops. Those are really sexy. Those are really cute. I'll buy all those. And I look at the holes and they're on the top and the bottom. I'm like, well, how am I going to put that around the neck to drop like a teardrop? So I've had all this. So I went to the store yesterday to get, it's been a fun journey with Etsy and all the things I'm learning. And then the ribbon to put through anyway, I'm at the store and I'm using my business card because it's all tax deductible and it's only $4 or $5. And they're like, well, I have to charge you 65 cents if, you don't get something else on the card. So I'm like, oh, well, sure. I'll go shop. I'll go look around. And right next to the cash register, were this bracelet, these bracelets, and they're adjustable. And I don't know if I don't think they're any like crystal or anything, but the name of the bracelet, it says choose joy. And I thought, so today I put them on. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to wear this bracelet to remind me to choose joy. Not that I ever don't choose joy, but isn't that a nice reminder to look down and be like, and it's sparkly and it's pretty. So I can look down and say, choose joy, JJ, every moment, every day. And that's all we want for you. So let's go back to when you signed up. This was with 2022. That was, let's see, it started in April. So you joined us in May of 2022. What would you have said if I would have said, here's where you'd be now, Sonia? Would you have said, I believe it?
How am I how? And I'd be like, wait, I'm leaving my life. My life is leaving. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
It's crazy. And the fact that like, here I am sitting here talking about it. Like I didn't feel comfortable talking about my feelings before. And now I'm feeling a lot more comfortable.
Is there anything that you want to say to your clients who are listening, who you would like to invite on a journey with you?
I don't really know what to say to them. I love them so much. You know, I'm just excited. I've gotten a lot of support from my clients, you know, as I've shared with the group, you know, like my clients have been a huge cheerleader, and, you know, it's been great to have them in my life as a hair client, but I'm ready. I'm ready to take the next step to something different. I'm ready to help people in a different way. I feel like I think I kind of shed a little bit of that girl. Like she's there. Like I've, you know, dabbled a little bit here and there with a little bit of hair in the last couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh, she's still there, but she's just craving something different. I'm just really excited about using my brain for something different, and getting to deep dive with somebody and do some core wound stuff and talk about diet and how sleep can help. And, you know, I'm just excited. I'm pumped. I'm jazzed up. I just want to go. But I think my clients who've been with me for a long time have seen my changes, even from my 20-year-old self to my 40-year-old self before I got into the Empowerment Strategist program. You know, they've seen how hard I've worked on myself and how much I've grown. And, you know, as I was going through this whole process, everyone kept saying, you're so strong. I could have never done this. I don't know anybody as strong as you. You are the strongest person I know. And it's like, and you can be too. Let me help you. Like, we all got this. Like, we need to stick together and do this together and figure out where we all have strengths, because my strength isn't the same as someone else's strengths, right? And so me learning how to pull out their strengths so they can be as successful as I am, I think is exactly what I'm trying to do.
Excellent. So for those of you that are Sonia's clients, again, reach out to her. If you want to follow her, everyone in my community, of course, follow her and, you know, work with her at any point in time. This first offer is just for her clients though. So go to her Instagram, follow Mariposa Collective. Even though she has a location and she's going to be doing things in person, she will be doing virtual things. She will be doing coaching. And as this first program gets underway, and then she sees how she feels about it and what she likes, what she wants to do next, you know, it'll keep growing and evolving just like my business has. And she'll keep, and next time we have her back, we'll do the after of where she is with the Mariposa Collective and her coaching program and her life. So Sonia, thanks so much. I can't wait to see you next week. And I'm so glad you could share your story with everybody to hopefully inspire them to allow themselves to have more of what they want in their life.
Agreed. Have a little more fun. Thank you, JJ.